Yesterday we handed out a number of awards, and we're privileged to have with us Mr. Mike Murphy, the Senior Director, Stakeholders and Partnerships with RxND, our major sponsor. So I'd like to call upon Mike to come on up and receive the Corporate Leadership Award. Okay.
Over here?
Yeah. Okay, this award is granted to a corporation for their leadership in sponsoring an event or a program to promote and advance the cause of acquired brain injury in Canada. And we're pleased to have RxND as our first major sponsor of our conference over the last number of years. So, Mike, thank you very much. You want to say a few words?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this is an excellent event. We've heard so much about it, and we hope it continues. And I used to be a television news reporter years ago, and I once did a story on young people, teenagers, who were injured in diving accidents, a disproportionate number. And I remember it was one of the most inspiring stories I'd ever done, not because of anything I said, but because of those who were injured, their families, the caregivers, the help that they got from the doctors, and also the inspiring research that was going on. So kudos to you folks who work in that area and keep doing what you're doing. And in addition to that, we put into your little loot bags there a reference to a program that we have, which is called Knowledge is the Best Medicine, which helps people keep track of their medications and use them safely and appropriately. So thank you very much for having me here today. And what an excellent conference.
Okay, we're pleased to have as our closing speaker Dr. Kirsty Duncan, Member of Parliament, who has been involved with a number of committees that deal with the brain and neurological conditions. And Kirsty is an advocate, speaker on our behalf on a number of issues in the House. She's presented a number of private members' bills that deal with brain injury in the veterans, neurological health, and all good things about the brain. So without further ado, it gives me a real great pleasure to ask Kirsty Duncan to come up and say a few words to us this afternoon to close off our 2012 conference. With the orchestra.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay? It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. I came here today first and foremost because I want you to know you have our attention, that someone is listening to you on Parliament Hill. I came to say thank you to Harry Zarins and BIAC for its extraordinary work, and to let you know that you inspire us with your enormous courage. I came to tell you that I am always an email or phone call away should you need anything, and that I support you. And finally, I came to say, let's take your voice to Parliament, deliver some petitions, and fight for a national brain strategy and a brain injury strategy. We need Canadians to understand the complexity, the stigma, the challenges associated with brain injury. We need legislators to understand that brain injury cannot be repaired like a broken arm or a serious cut, but instead requires constant and daily rehab. Awareness that brain injury can affect an infant, a child, an adolescent, an adult, and that no one should ever be left to be recovered by themselves. Awareness that the symptoms associated with brain injury, the steps that must be taken to be treated by a health provider. We need awareness that a housing for brain injury survivors must be a priority. Remember, most people are injured before the age of 40. When I speak to parliamentarians, and I'm working with the US Congress and the World Health Organization trying to get more awareness of brain health, I ask parliamentarians to imagine that they are a fully functioning, contributing member of society. They work in their community, they have a rich family life, and I ask them to imagine they've just suffered a brain injury. I explain to them that the fear is overwhelming, paralyzing, because the condition strikes their brain, the organ that keeps them alive, the physical structure that makes them who they are. And I explain that the fear is overpowering because if your brain does not work properly, every part of your life may be compromised. Loving, talking, walking. And I explain to them because every person is unique and different, every brain injury is equally unique and different. And as you know, it can be behavioral impairments, cognitive impairments, and how frightening that is. I explained to them that the immediate effects of the injury may soon create a number of related problems. Loss of income, loss of friends, loss of intimacy, loss of freedom, and that the effects impact the person and the family. And while we can talk about statistics, the fact that 50,000 have a brain injury each year in Canada, and that there are 500,000 living in Ontario alone, I explained to the parliamentarians that statistics are neat and tidy. They do not show the reality of those living with a brain injury, people who battle back to work, to walk, to talk. So I want you to know, I came to Parliament to fight for neurological disease, disorder, and injury. That's why I came. And one of the first things I did when I got to Parliament was to start a subcommittee on neurological disease. And I was able to get all-party support for it, which was really exciting. And I came to fight for a national brain strategy. No one wants to lose their voice, to be forgotten, or to be invisible. And that's where legislators have to step in. We've got to champion brain disease, disorder, and injury the same way we did heart health 40 years ago. 40 years ago, we said we're going to make the heart a priority. And today you can get a new valve, you can get a bypass, you can get a new heart. There's not the same help for those with brain injury. So I'm championing 2014 to be the year of brain. And if the government won't do it in 2014, we'll ask for 2015, 2016, and preferably we'll get a decade of the brain. I want to draw political attention to the human and economic costs of brain conditions. I'm working internationally to build collaborations, not just in the US, but I'm working with the World Health Organization. And to leave a lasting legacy in Canada about awareness, improved diagnosis, and most importantly, improved treatment and repair. We need a national brain strategy in this country. We need a public education plan to encourage good brain health throughout life. We need to understand how you protect your brain through good diet, physical and mental exercise, and if things are starting to decline, what to do about it. We all have to work to remove the stigma associated with brain conditions. We need a national brain injury prevention strategy in order to reduce the incidence of brain and spinal cord injuries. And you will all know my outstanding twins, Sandy and Swapna. Where are you? I don't see them. They're eating over there. Well, I hope you do know them. Sandy and Swapna have come every week to my office for 2 years to work on a brain bill. It is almost done. It'll go in the House of Commons. They've got petitions here. We want you to sign them. Every 25 signatures gives me a minute to speak in the House of Commons on brain injury. And a minute may not sound like much to you, it's gold. That allows us to talk about brain injury day after day after day. We need a program to maximize quality of life for anyone living with a brain injury. We have to ensure that people do not live in poverty with a brain injury. And we need, oh, there they are, girls. They're pretty outstanding folks. And if you haven't signed their petition, please go over. We need a guide, how you go through the healthcare system, because as you know, it's hard. We need a national caregiver strategy. We need real investments, more investments in neuroscience research. We need a national registry for brain injury. I hope you like these ideas. And we have to increase research, from discovery to the development of new treatments and therapies for neurological conditions. I would be honored to share any of my 3 brain bills with you, and I have some 25 motions on brain disease, disorder, and injury. One of them deals with traumatic brain injury, and I have to tell you, this Tuesday, I'm hosting for all members of Parliament and senators an event on Parliament Hill on brain injury. I'm inviting the Surgeon General's coming to speak. I have top researchers from the US, and we're going to teach MPs what it's like to live with a brain injury and hopefully inspire them to take real action. So let me finish. So let me finish by saying you are not alone. I will be there to fight for you, and together we will advocate for real change for all those living with a brain condition. My friends, the time to act is now. Our fellow Canadians are hurting, and with that, I will say my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for everything you do to advance this cause. Let's get your voice in the House of Commons. Thank you.
Wow. And Kirsty is available almost 24 hours a day. And we have communicated a number of issues with regards to brain injury. And certainly Canadians are lucky to have an MP like Kirsty who promotes neurological conditions, awareness about neurological conditions, and making sure that Canadians do not, as she put it, suffer alone. And certainly I go back to our opening and Christine Durham's talk and saying that we're all Sherpas. You're one of the lead Sherpas, Kirsty.
Quietly behind the scenes.
That's right. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we have a couple, many Sherpas with us, and certainly as we leave Ottawa today, we remember to fill up our knapsacks and move on and work to make Canada a better place for people with traumatic brain injuries on all fronts, from rehab to housing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We still have one prize, but I'll finish this up. Barb, come on up. Barb's been our conference chair, and I've worked very closely with Barb, and I think I feel comfortable in saying this, that we've really enjoyed putting this conference together. We've enjoyed the feedback, working with the survivors, the researchers, having people talk about the challenges that they face, and people leaving here feeling hopeful that there are solutions, there will be solutions for those who have and live with acquired brain injury. We're going to pick a site for our conference next year in the next couple of weeks, but stay tuned to our website. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. It's been a real honor. To all the speakers, thank you for giving up your time, and take back the knowledge. Check us out again on our website. We'll be posting most of the presentations, I think, again. Yep. And so thank you on my behalf, and keep up the great work that you're doing. Bart, you want to say anything?
I'm kind of tired and I'm kind of speechless, but I just want to say that you have my thanks, my respect, and I'm just so glad you could all be here to share this conference with me. Thank you.
And I want to thank you too. And since I'm the president of BIAC, I get to do that. And we thank all the volunteers who've made this run so smoothly. We have wonderful people working at the registration table, working to get everything happening. So thanks to them. We do have, Kirsty, if you would come up here again, please. We have a little gift for you. Don't get excited. It's not a Cadillac. Thank you so much. And
I will treasure that.
let me conclude with this. We had a quotation from Helen Keller the other day, and many of you have heard this other quotation from her. While they were saying among themselves, it cannot be done, it was done. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, thank you so much. Safe travels, and we'll see you next year. Take care now. Thanks.